you've been following me on Facebook, you probably have seen it. And this is a sign that I use for my home buyers when they close escrow on their property, and I give them keys to their brand new home. And we just take a picture with this, and picture is on my wall in my office. I keep tons of pictures there because to me is a memory of their happiness when they bought the house, and I try to remind them every year of their big achievement of buying a home. So I just wanted to show you this sign because if you haven't bought your house, that's what we're going to talk about. What is holding you back? What is it that you need to do to be able to buy your first home and become a homeowner? Because there's so many benefits to becoming a homeowner. So let's go over them. And you know what, Claudia? I left my little list on top of my desk. So anyway, since Claudia's going to go get me the list because I do not want to miss any of the points that I wanted to talk to you about. But let me tell you a little bit about, next week we're going to talk about the tax benefits of becoming a homeowner. But today we're going to talk about how to prepare. What are the steps you need to take before you can buy a home? And I was asking a few of my friends and clients what was their fear that was holding them back before they purchased a home. What was holding them back, and what was their fear? And most of the fears they had were, thank you. We're so funny here. So some of the fears they had were, they had the fear that they were not going to find the house they liked, that they were going to put in an offer on a house and then something better was going to come on the market. They were not going to qualify to buy a house. They were going to lose their job, and then how would they pay their mortgage? Which that was my fear when my kids were little, and me as a single mom back then, it was really hard for me just imagining, like, oh my God, what if I lose my job? How am I going to pay this mortgage? But you know what? If you're able to pay rent, then obviously you're going to be able to make a mortgage. And when you don't pay your rent because you lost your job, they kick you out immediately. When you own your house and you have a mortgage and you have an issue, a financial hardship, the bank works with you. If you let the bank know, you know what, I lost my job, I'm looking for another one, they'll give you a chance. They'll put you on a payment plan. Sometimes they'll waive one of your payments, something that a landlord is not going to do. So even then, it's better off to have a mortgage than be paying rent if you're going to lose your job, right? Just temporarily. So the fear of that, if you put in an offer and then something better comes on the market, we can't think like that, because if that was the case, nobody would get married, because they would think, well, I don't want to marry this person. What if somebody better comes along? So you have to find a house that you like. No house is perfect, but the benefits of owning a house is, they're so big that it's definitely, even if that's not your dream house, you can sell it later and buy something else because you're going to have equity. So when you sell that house, you're going to have some profit. Real estate is not a quick investment that you're going to make money immediately. Sometimes you buy a house and you make equity within 2 years. You sell and you cash out. Sometimes that happens. But usually, this is a long-term investment. If you keep a house for 10 years, you're guaranteed that you're going to make money. That's the way it's always been. So let's go over some of the things that you need to prepare. I asked one of our lenders to join us in the comments because I want to make sure that if you guys have questions about loans and stuff, that she's there to answer them, because she's not here today. And that's one of our lenders, but we have a few lenders that we work with. So reach out if that's what you need. So, okay, so the first thing, it's you have to prepare, okay? You have to prepare, and you can't wait until you're ready to buy to say, okay, now I'm ready to buy, let's get it done. You have to think about what you want to do. When you want to buy, you have to think ahead before, think ahead, I want to buy next year. Okay, so let's get ready now so I can be ready in a year to purchase my home. So the first thing, I'm going to go very basic stuff, because a lot of my viewers are young, young couples. They're in their early 20s, so they have no idea exactly what they need to do. So the first thing is you have to keep a job. definitely you have to keep a job consistently. If you're getting a part-time job or switching jobs from one to another one, that's not going to help you. You need to keep a job because you want to have the same type of job for 2 years to be able to qualify. Obviously, there's some exceptions to the rule, but most of the time you need to be in the job for 2 years. If you transfer to a different company, as long as you're doing exactly the same thing or you have the same title that you had with the previous company, then it counts as a continuous job. So you have to keep a job, remember, that's the first thing. And the second one is you have to build credit. So now you have a job, now you have a weekly income, monthly income, whatever you're getting, and you want to establish credit. A lot of people think because they have a cell phone and they have a gas and electric bill or water bill that they're getting credit. Those don't give you a credit score. You have to make sure you have a credit card, and when you have a car payment, those things are going to give you points. Credit cards are the best ones to be able to get points on your credit score. Those are always better, but there's obviously some rules to that. You can't just get a credit card with a limit of $1,000 and then go spend $1,000, because then they're going to see you as a high risk, because immediately after you got it, you put it up to the limit. So you want to make sure that if you get a credit card with a $1,000 limit, that you're only using it for half of that at the most. But if you want to earn points, you want to use it for $50, $100 and pay it off at the end of the month. If you do that, you're going to get a lot of points. So use it for a small amount and pay it off at the end of the month completely. If you do that, you will definitely get a lot of points. Credit cards. Also, if you have a car payment, here's the trick. If you have a car payment, when you get pre-qualified to buy a house, that car payment is going to be deducted from your income. So you're qualified to buy a house based on that income, but now they have to subtract that car payment and any other payments you have on your credit. They have to subtract them from that income, and then that's the income they can actually use to pre-qualify you. So remember, if you're thinking of buying a house this coming year, it's not a good idea to go buy a brand new car with a huge payment that you have to pay for the next 5 years, because that's definitely going to hurt you unless you make good money, and it's not even going to make a difference, right? So that's one of the things. The other way to get credit is if you're younger and you don't have any credit cards. Nobody wants to give you a credit card because you don't have any credit history. Then what you can do is you can ask one of your parents or one of your cousins, or somebody that has good credit, that is very responsible. So you want to ask them if they can add you to their credit card, but you have to really make sure they have a really good history on that credit card, because whatever credit they have is going to transfer to your credit score. So just remember that. I'm sorry, I'm getting confused. What is that noise?
Sure.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thought it was something else. We get distracted here because it's only the three of us today, so we're like, doesn't it feel different? It's only the three of us.
We're a little nervous.
I know, we're missing Ray and we're missing Jaime. Okay, so remember, you have to make sure the other person has good credit and is very responsible, because whatever they do with that credit card is going to affect you. If they raise their limit on that credit card, it's going to affect you. So really be smart about who you're asking to add you to their credit cards, because you will get all that history for you. Okay? So that's a fast way to get credit history on your report. Okay, so then step number 3, you have to save money. Okay, you need money if you're gonna buy a house, but I don't want you to get scared and think, oh my God, how much money do I need? Do I need 20%, 10%? A lot of a lot of buyers that come see me, they think they need 20%. So imagine if they're buying a house that is $500,000. How much money do they need to be able to buy that house? How much money do they need to save 20% of that? That's not the case. There's a lot of programs where you only need 3.5% or 3%, some 1%, and sometimes zero money down. If you're VA, you don't need any money. You don't need to put any money down. You're 100% financed. There's some banks that will give you 100% financing, even if you're not VA. There's only a couple of banks that can do that, but there's some out there. But most of the time, the most common one, the lowest one, is going to be 3.5%. Okay, so you want to make sure you're saving money, because besides your down payment, and that's something that Claudia was reminding me today, because she's my assistant, so she has to be talking to our buyers and sellers about when we have the files. She's also my TC. So sometimes people have questions about the cost, like what are closing costs? What is that? So usually the lender explains that to them, but I think it's important that we cover that. So you need money for your down payment, okay? And like we said, usually 3.5% is the lowest that most people do, 3.5. But you also need money for your closing costs, and let me tell you what closing costs are. The closing costs are going to be when you buy the house and you're getting this loan. The bank is going to ask you to do an appraisal on the property. So you do an appraisal and you have to pay for that. You need to pay for title insurance. You need to pay for escrow, and you need to pay for your loan. You need to pay for property taxes for the house that you're purchasing. So all those things are closing costs. If the seller is saying that they're not going to do the termite inspection or clearance, so then they ask you to pay for that. Anything that is related to the cost of purchasing that house is going to be closing costs, and they're usually between 2 and 3%. Okay, so you want to make sure that you have at least $8,000 to $10,000 saved for your closing costs. Now, if you have a good agent and we're in a good market, you might be able to get the seller to pay for your closing costs. It's kind of like them giving you money, and you might say, you know what, I know you want $400,000 for your house, but maybe I give you $405,000 and you give me $8,000 for my closing costs. So you might be able, so you're pretty much putting that money into the loan. They're adding that money into the price of the house, and then that way they can give you that money, because you're going to need it, at the end of the escrow to pay for those closing costs. So that's another way to get your closing costs, but that's what you're going to need the money for. A lot of the companies, if you have a 401k, it depends what kind of 401k you have. You have to ask and find out what are the guidelines of the guidelines of your 401k, and find out if you can actually pull money out. Sometimes they'll let you pull all of it out, sometimes a percentage, and sometimes none. So you want to find out. Usually 401k will let you pull money out to pay for the down payment of the purchase of a home. And that would be usually the only time they'll let you pull money out without a penalty. You still have to pay taxes on that money, but you won't have to pay a penalty. Usually, like I said, that's usually what happens, but you have to check with your 401k and find out what it is. So there's a way to get your money for your down payment or your closing costs, okay? So that's number 3. And then number 4, keep your payments to a minimum. And what I mean of that, what I mean with that is that you want to keep your payments that you have right now before you purchase a home, your car payment, your credit card payments, because you might get 4 credit. Once you start getting credit cards and you're doing good and your credit score is getting high, all these companies start sending you all these credit cards. You start getting them in the mail, like $10,000 limit, $15,000 limit, 0 interest for whatever years. They want to get you to use them. So just remember, all those payments that you have to pay monthly are going to be deducted from your income when they qualify you for a home. So remember that. Now, you have to get pre-qualified. So you might be asking, well, I'm not ready to buy yet. I'm not going to buy until next year. Why would I get pre-qualified? Well, you want to get pre-qualified because you want to know where you stand. You want to know what your credit score is. You want to talk to a lender to see how much money you need to be making to purchase what. And the only way to find that out is if you sit with the lender and they run your credit and they go through your tax returns and they go through your pay stubs and they sit with you and they explain everything to you. So I highly suggest that if you are thinking of purchasing a home, that you sit with a lender and go, it's free. I mean, most of the lenders are not even going to charge you for the credit report. and they're going to tell you exactly where you stand. And that way, if you need to do something, you can start doing that now, not wait until you're ready to buy, and then they tell you, you know what, you're going to have to wait 6 months because you're not ready yet. So you have to remember that to get pre-qualified, and you do it so you can be ready or when you're ready to buy. So what do you need to get pre-qualified? That's another question that we always get asked, like, what do I need? So you're gonna need 2 years, 2 to 3 years. It depends if you're doing any of the city programs, because a lot of the city programs, Stephanie Puente is one of our preferred lenders that she's an expert on those programs, and they'll help you with the down payment. They'll help you with closing costs. Sometimes they pay all your closing costs, and they're government assistance programs that will help you purchase a home. So for those, usually they ask for 3 years of tax returns, but it's usually the normal, it's 2 years. So 2 years or 3 years of tax returns, 2 months of pay stubs, and 2 months of your bank statements. Okay, and then you need to bring your 401k statement or any other savings you have. Just bring all the statements, and that's it. And then they'll run an application because they're going to run your credit and check all those things. Okay, so that's all you need to get pre-qualified. So it's not that hard. It's not a lot of things. You should have those things handy all the time anyways. And the other thing is be informed. Okay, be informed when you're ready to buy a house. I was talking to some buyers recently, and somebody had told them before that they couldn't buy a house. So they waited years because of what this agent told them. And they waited and waited because they thought, well, you know, we can't. They told us we can't. You can't just go with one person. If somebody tells you, no, you don't qualify, you can't do it, you should wait, go get a second opinion. Don't just settle for one. Go talk to another realtor. Go talk to another lender. You have to feel comfortable. If you're working with a realtor that it's not making you feel like they're helping you, you need to change. You don't have to settle. You're making the biggest purchase of your life. You're buying a house, you know. And even though it's a big benefit for you for tax purposes and for many other things, you still want to work with a realtor or a lender that's going to make you feel comfortable, and it's going to explain everything to you. So be informed. Watch videos. Don't just, sometimes people say, well, I heard on the news. The news, they just drama because they want to sell. So you want to actually investigate. You want to sit with a lender, find out what are the rates right now, what are the best lenders, what's better about this lender than this other lender. A lot of people go with lenders online. Not that I have anything against them. I've closed many deals many times with my listings, and the buyers were doing their loan online. And sometimes it went really well, but sometimes, they're very strict. They're very strict, and if they're missing one thing, they will not close your loan. And they don't have to see you in person. They just won't answer the phone, and there's nothing you can do. They just tell you, we couldn't do it, we need that paper, you don't have it. There's no exceptions to the rule. When you're working with a local lender, you actually know them, the underwriter is in town. Sometimes they do make exceptions, so you want to make sure that you're comfortable with your lender, you're comfortable with your realtor, checking references on them. You can always go on Yelp and Google the name of that lender and that realtor. When people are upset, they'll do a recommendation, or they'll do a bad review. Okay, either or. So you want to make sure you're checking references on the realtors you're working with and the lenders. I highly recommend that, because if I'm gonna get service from a company, I always go to Yelp or Google the name of the company. I want to make sure that I read all the reviews. I want to make sure that they're going to do a good job. And if I see something bad, it doesn't mean that I'm going to believe everything that's there. I mean, if I see 20 good reviews and one bad, I'm probably not going to believe that one. It was probably somebody that was upset. But if they have 20 and 18 are bad, then I'm going to know. So you want to make sure that you check those reviews, and then if you have questions, you ask that lender or that realtor, hey, I saw this review on you, what happened? Because it could be a bad experience with one buyer. Sometimes, people have issues, and you'll see one bad review. So make sure you don't judge over just one review, but you want to question it. You want to make sure that you ask. And Sorry, Adrian is waving the blue flag. I'm like, what, are we enough?
Sorry, that was an accident.
I know, today is like a weird day here, I'm telling you. We have a blue flag, and that's supposed to be used when we go live, when we go out, and Adrian is waving the flag.
It unfolded, sorry.
Anyway, so hopefully you guys got some good information. The reason I was doing this today, and I'm talking about this for buyers, is because right now there's so many programs. There's so much money from the city and from the state helping buyers. There's a lot of people that have a lot of equity in their homes, and they're able to refinance and get some money out to buy another home, or to buy a rental property. Or maybe the parents have equity and they can pull out some cash and help the daughter or the son buy something, but they're afraid because they don't think they qualify. Just come to one of our lenders, or any lender. I'm not saying just come to us, you can go anywhere, but definitely you have to let go of those fears. And if you don't get over those fears, what's going to happen is you're going to be renting all your life, and that's something that you don't want to do, because if you don't buy, your kids are probably not going to buy, and their kids are probably not going to buy. We just follow along. It's just like if our parents own a home, we're going to want to own a home. So you want to do that not just for you want to do it for your kids and your grandkids, to make sure, because amazingly you have a better quality of life when you're a homeowner. You have a better quality of life than when you're renting. So keep that in mind. Make the effort. It's not that hard. There is a lot of steps, but hey, if I could do it back in the day, anybody can do it. I'll tell you, I was making hardly any money, but I was able to use one of those government programs when I bought my first condo. And yes, it was a lot of paperwork, and it was hard to find a seller that would take my offer with that loan, but I ended up buying. And you know what? After that, I never rented again. So just keep that in mind. And we want to see, do we have any questions?
One by Luis, but you answered it.
Okay, I'm going to look here on our iPad because I want to see if there's anything that we're missing. Thank you, Stephanie. Stephanie Fuentes here with us. She's been doing so many loans for a lot of our buyers that didn't have enough money. Well, you know what? They had money for their down payment. They had their 3%, but they couldn't afford the big payments. So by doing those programs, a payment that was going to be $2,800 ended up being $2,100. So it's a big difference. So a lot of people are saying, hey, I don't want to pay $2,800, even though they do qualify for $2,800. They don't want to pay that. So they end up doing that loan with her, and their payment is only $2,100. So they feel more comfortable. They're like, okay, I can pay that. And, it's with their same income. So obviously there are some things that you have to do to get that loan, but it's not that hard. It's just a lot of paperwork. Okay, Luis, yeah, we told you how to do those, how to raise your credit score. So make sure you're telling your clients and you're sharing with them. And hola, Blanca. Thank you for joining us. Gracias que estás aquí. Hola, señora Mayra. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you. My brother David, he's watching us. Driver's license. Oh, yeah. You know what, Jennifer, thank you for reminding us. So when I said what you need to bring, they also need your driver's license and your social security card. Those are big ones I forgot. Yeah, thank you, Jennifer. Good call. Social security and California ID. Okay, let me see what else. Yeah, Stephanie Puente and Tim are always available to assist you. Yes, you guys are doing wonderful. Thank you. You know what? Because you're always answering the calls, and I know you guys are closing so many loans, but it seems, honestly, when I'm working with you guys, I feel like I'm your only client. But I know I'm not. I know you guys have tons of buyers. MCC credits. Okay, so let me tell you, MCC credits, that's another thing. If you guys are watching, can you give us some hearts? You know how there's that little heart icon on the right? If you click on that heart like 100 times, we get all those little hearts, and then Facebook helps us promote our video because we're getting a lot of likes and hearts. So please, when you join us, always help us with the little hearts. That really helps us. And so MCC credits, I didn't understand that, but thankfully Stephanie helped me with that. So when you're purchasing a home, and we're going to talk about tax credits next week when we have our CPA coming in. And thank you, Raul de la Vega, because he's the one that
Connected us.
huh?
Connected us.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, so he connected us. Good. That was the word I was looking for. So he connected us to this CPA. So he's going to tell us about Gustavo Garcia, right?
No.
What was
Fimbres.
Gustavo Fimbres, perdón. Gustavo Fimbres, and he's going to be here with us, and he's going to talk about the credits that you can get for being a homeowner, tax credits. But anyways, what Stephanie was telling me is that because you're getting that credit at the end of the year, because now you have that exception of the mortgage payments, so they give you that money back. So sometimes, it could be like almost like $300 a month that you're getting back. So you can subtract that from your mortgage payment. And it's an MCC credit, and they guarantee that you're going to get that. They tell you exactly how much that's going to be. And you can use that to qualify also for your payment. So that's the MCC credit. So if you're working with some other lender, make sure you ask about that. Okay? So it's such a good benefit. Thank you, Alexis. Alejandra, gracias. If you have any unusually large deposit, how long does it need to be seasoned? Okay, good question, Aileen. So if you have money for your down payment, you want to make sure the money has been in the bank 2 months before you start your loan. So let's say you barely put that money in the bank is going to ask you for the last 2 months of your bank statements. So they're going to check that money has been there the last 2 months. So you want to make sure that if you're thinking of buying a house in 3 months, that you put all the money in the bank right now. So once you get those bank statements, it shows that it's been there. Once you start looking for a house, do not be depositing money just out of the blue in that bank account, because you're going to have to explain it where it came from. They don't want you to be borrowing money from anyone. Even if you're going to get a gift of money and the bank is going to allow it, the money needs to come directly from that person to escrow. They can't just give it to you. So be really careful with all that stuff. But good question, Aileen. Definitely keep it in the bank. A lot of people like to keep their money in a safe or at the security box in the bank. Many reasons why people do that. I respect that. Huh?
Under the mattress?
Under the mattress, yeah. We don't do it in our house. But a lot of people like to do that. Some people are afraid that something's going to happen and they won't be able to get to the bank or to the ATM. So, I understand why some people do that. But if you're ready to buy a house, you need to go put it in the bank. Okay? Don't forget. Okay, so I think I cover all the questions. So, okay, now you guys know what you need to do to be ready to purchase a home. I'm always here to answer all your questions. I'm not the only realtor here at Coldwell Banker West. I'm here in Eastlake. There's tons of realtors here. If I'm not your type of realtor, there's tons of other realtors here. But honestly, I just want to encourage all of you guys to buy a house. Definitely. Stop renting. Purchase a house through me, through whoever you know that you trust, and go get qualified. Go get pre-qualified to purchase a house. There's many lenders out there. Check the references on them. Check Google and make sure you're checking their reviews to make sure it's a good lender that is not going to lie to you. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And do we have a giveaway today?
Yeah.
So we're gonna give the Jamba Juice. So we're gonna give out a Jamba Juice card that gives you 6 buy one get one free. So let's do that one. Right. I feel weird because there's always somebody here. You pull it. Dog is here. There it is, the lucky one. How do you guys like this chair? I stole it from the lobby here in our office. We borrowed it for 30 minutes, but I've been using Rosie Montano's chairs, and I keep saying that I'm gonna go buy some. So I want to get some just cute. They just can't be too big because I'm so short. So if they're too big, I can't reach the floor. So hopefully I'll go shopping this weekend. She's not going to be able to use it because she's in Mexico City. Sandra, she's my coach, Tom Ferry coach. I highly recommend her. She's Sandra Hendricks, and I love her. She was my coach for over a year, and she's with Tom Ferry. So if you're a realtor and you need a coach, you know what? I learned so much from her. I'm getting a lot of clients following her systems. Claudia is a result from my coach because she taught me what I needed to do to get a great assistant, and she taught me the system. So that's why you're here, and that's why you're so good. So thank you, Coach. Te quiero. So I'm gonna pull another one because you wouldn't be able to use that card. Okay, I'll just pull one more here. All right. Hey, we forgot the sounds again. Oh. We have some cute sounds when we're getting ready to pull the name. Yay, Eileen! Thank you. Yay. There's only 3 of us clapping.
Yeah.
Two. I have your card, so you can go jump a juice. Okay, guys, thank you so much. We'll see you next week. Don't forget, we're going to be talking about the tax benefits. If you have a house, many things. It's a CPA, so he's going to tell us how we can save money. I hear a lot of people paying a lot of taxes at the end of the year or not getting a big refund. He's going to be here to tell us what we need to do to get a big refund or to not pay too much taxes. All right? Hold on. I need my Sultan again. Can't wait to use this. Take a picture with you on your house. Bye.
Show the video. You tell them about the video.
Oh, yes. We do have a video, and that video clip is going to show you the 7 things you need to purchase a home. Bye.